Test, 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 test.
You ready?
Yep.
Ready? Okay. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for your patience. We had an extended closed session, and we have a couple business items to get taken care of, and then we will get to the fun part of the meeting. As we call this meeting back to order of the Madison County School Board on December the 11th, 2023, I will open the floor for the certification of the closed session, as well as including Mr. Wingate in the closed session at 6:30. 6:39. Sorry, thank you. Would anybody like to read that certification for us?
Greg, you got it there? Whereas the Madison School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote, and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. Whereas Section 22-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Therefore, be it resolved that Madison County School Board hereby certified that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting, to which the certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
Okay, we have a motion. We need a second. Second. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Krapp, can you call roll?
Mrs. Allen?
I certify.
Mr. March?
I certify.
Mr. Sheets?
I certify.
Mr. Wingate?
I certify.
Mrs. Collier?
I certify. Thank you all. The next agenda item is our pledge and moment of silence. We invite you to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we will have a moment of silence. Thank you. Our next agenda item is to approve the personnel matters and addendum for December the 11th, 2023, to include appointments, substitute appointments, resignations, terminations, and coaching stipends as presented. I will open the floor for a motion.
I move that we approve the personnel items for December the 11th and the addendum to include appointments, substitute appointments, resignations, terminations, and coaching stipends as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Our next agenda item is the consent agenda. That includes claims. I'll open the floor for that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve December 11th, 2023 consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion. We need a second.
I second.
Motion and a second. I heard you first, Mr. Martz. Sorry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. And we have a motion. The next agenda item is our Employee of the Month. Ms. Graham?
Now it's on. Our Employee of the Month comes from Waverly, so we have Dr. Reese to present that award.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Roy, would you please come forward? Let's see if I can get through this. It took me several drafts to get through this, just so you know. It is hard to imagine Waverly Gal without amazing staff. However, this month, one staff member in particular is recognized for her selfless commitment to the Waverly Owl community. It is with great pleasure that Waverly Owl recognizes Mrs. Amanda Roy as its Employee of the Month. As Waverly's student success coach, the role of Mrs. Roy is subject to change from day to day. With that being said, there's one thing you can always count on: Mrs. Roy's willingness to lend a helping hand and go above and beyond to connect with students. Her contagious smile and unassuming demeanor promote a positive and professional work environment wherever she goes. This semester, Mrs. Roy has not only continued to support students in the classroom, she has transitioned to helping administration and her colleagues plan and implement school-level programs. These programs, such as Waverly Dreamers, which you're going to hear about a little later, offer students the opportunity to gain real-world experience. In addition, Mrs. Roy was solely responsible for planning, coordinating, and implementing our first Veterans Day assembly. This assembly was run by students and attended by veterans in our community. Mrs. Roy is constantly thinking of creative ways to engage our students and opportunities to build their character and reflect on how they can make a difference in their community. Thank you, Mrs. Roy, for your dedication and love of the Waverly family.
We need a picture. Can you just pause for just a second? Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. And our next agenda item is Senior of the Month. Ms. Wyndham is going to present.
Okay. So each month we select a senior. We have a committee at the high school who reviews our entire senior class. Each year we try to focus around the theme for the year. So this year our theme is Innovate. So the committee It's compiled of like 6 staff members, and they just look for someone that has stood out and ways to make our school better. And they send the nomination to me, and that's how it is selected. And then at the end of the year, there's a banquet where the seniors then have a chance to highlight who has impacted them the most from their perspective through their K through 12 education experience. There's a banquet, and there's a little small amount of money, like a gift card, given to the seniors as well through donations from the community. Miss Graham brought the program to Madison, so it's been great. So, Miss Emma Bardis can come join me. This is really like. You have to stand up so you can stand right beside me. Don't be shy. So this is Emma Bardis, a senior at MCHS, and she has been recognized as this month's Senior of the Month. She radiates a spirit of happiness and love wherever she goes, and it's infectious. This year, Emma served as the drum major of the MCHS Marching Mountaineers, and her leadership helped spread school spirit and warmth throughout the stands and among her fellow classmates in the band, as well as those in the student section at each game. Our theme this year is innovation, and Emma found a way to improve the leadership style of a drum major while also contributing to the improvement of our student section's school spirit. Her positive attitude and spirit were so infectious that she even became an honorary member of the sideline cheer squad at football games. At one game, I looked up and I saw her just directing the band with her little peppy personality with a cheer bow in her hair. Emma is an exceptional student who excels not only as a drum major, but also as a member of the soccer and swim teams. Currently, she is the captain of the swim team. Besides her athletic accomplishments, Emma is a member of 3 honor societies, which include Beta, Tri-M, and the Spanish Honor Society. She is also an active volunteer in her community, serving with her church, Adopt a Highway, and the MCHS Blood Drive. At MCHS, we value innovation, but we also strive to be inclusive and inspiring, which are 2 of our core values. A few weeks ago, as I was walking around the halls before school started, I saw firsthand just how inspiring Emma can be. Despite an interruption from her conversation with her math teacher, she warmly included a student with special needs in her morning routine. Her approach was so genuine and encouraging that it was the perfect start to the day for a high school administrator, and it gave me just another example of how deserving Emma is to be recognized as this month's Senior of the Month. Thank you.
Congratulations, Emma. Okay, we have a special recognition this evening. And I'm going to attempt to say a few things, if I can, about Miss Allen. We're honored this evening to recognize Mrs. Karen Allen for her outstanding contributions to the field of education. Miss Allen has had a long and distinguished career, serving both as elementary school teacher and later as an elementary principal, before ultimately serving on the Madison County School Board. As an elementary teacher, Miss Allen was known for her dedication and passion for teaching. She always went above and beyond to ensure that her students received the best possible education and support. Her commitment to her students and her profession was unwavering, and she inspired countless young minds to pursue their dreams and achieve their goals. Later on, Miss Allen became an elementary principal, and once again, she proved to be a true leader and innovator in the field of education. She was always looking for new and better ways to engage students and make learning more fun and exciting. Her creativity and dedication were evident in everything she did, and she quickly became a beloved figure in her school community. Finally, Ms. Allen served on the school board, where she continued to advocate for students and teachers alike. Her extensive experience as an educator has given her a unique perspective on the issues facing schools today, and she worked tirelessly to ensure that every student had access to high-quality education. Ms. Allen's contributions to education are truly remarkable. So this evening, we would like to take a moment to recognize you and for her remarkable achievements, and thank her, you guys, this is a drum roll, for 48 years. Thank you, kids. 48 years of dedicated service to the field of education. Specifically for her last 8 years, she has served on the school board. Thank you, Ms. Allen, for everything you have done and continue to do for our students, our schools, and our community. We will certainly miss you having you on the school board.
Oh, my goodness.
We need to.
I've never seen anything like this before. It is, but look at it.
You taught me about this.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Isn't this cool? Got a little plaque down here at the bottom when Nita was saying all those things about me. I was like, my goodness, how quickly time flies. But for those of you that are here that have known me in a lot of the different occupations I've had, a lot of different experiences that I've had, I want to thank you all for the support that you've given to me all those years, and especially for the last 8 years on the school board. It was a privilege to serve you, and my heart will always be with the Madison County Public Schools, the teachers and the students, and all of you. Thank you.
Thank you for all you have done.
You are very welcome. It's been my life. Oh boy, I'm glad that's over with, to be perfectly honest with you.
All right. Shall we move on?
Yes, please.
Our next presentation is coming from our Waverly Dreamers. We're excited about you guys.
We have some pamphlets, some information for you guys.
Mr. Sheets, I'm sorry.
Those are the information packets.
Yes. Yes, those are information packets which contain more information about our program for you to look at.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Roy. I'm the Student Success Coach at Waverly Yale Elementary School.
Good evening. My name is Jerlisa Turner, and I am one of the school counselors at Waverly Yale Elementary School.
And my name is Rachel Dove, and I'm also another school counselor at Waverly Yale Elementary School.
First of all, we'd like to thank you for allowing us to be here to talk to you about a program and our students, which we are very proud of, our Dreamers program. Again, enclosed in each packet that you have, you will find copies of important dates for the fall and spring semester. You will also find a copy of the application and reference pages that each dreamer must complete in order to get a job. You will also see descriptions for each position. And in addition, you will see it contains a copy of the job informational packet, which details program requirements and the accountability plan each dreamer who is offered a job must review and sign with a caregiver. Finally, you will find a copy of the presented slideshow, which we'll present to you in a moment, which includes perspectives from all of our dreamers. Thank you.
The first page of our slideshow covers the purpose and the vision of the Dreamers program that we have at Waverly Yale. The purpose of the program is to show STAR student behavior, showing leadership, school-wide, and developing career-based skills. The vision of the Dreamers program is to provide students with the skill set and knowledge to take on responsibilities, be role models for peers, strengthen communication skills, and work towards building character. The program and the jobs are semester-based, interchanging from fall to spring semesters, so that many of our students in the 5th grade have the opportunity to apply. The program application process, how that kind of went was the 5th grade class was able to meet with myself and Ms. Dove and Ms. Roy, and we kind of reviewed the job opportunities, the application process. We went over interviewing processes and kind of skills for interview, and information regarding references. That was one of the things that the children had to get as well within the school. They were provided dates for the application to be turned in. Interviews were scheduled and held for each recipient who turned in an application. Students were chosen based upon interview performance, applications, and references. Jobs were announced and began shortly after that. Some of the general job requirements that the students have is the students must participate in an interview to be considered for the role, have a grade average no lower than a C in all classes, no more than 4 unverified absences, no more than 3 silent lunches, no more than 2 lunch detentions, 1 ISS visit, and no more than 1 referral. We take this serious. And then, what is our Waverly Dreamers program?
So these are a couple quotes from a few of our Waverly Dreamers. To me, the Waverly Dreamer program is a program that lets you help in ways you normally can't, and that is by Miss Adelaide. She is one of our ambassadors. And for another person, school-wide job for the 5th graders by Annabelle Hoffman. She's a mentor who's not with us at this meeting, but she does an awesome job. So what I'm getting ready to do is I will give you a little information about each job, and then a student from each job or role will have a chance to come up and share a favorite memory with you and introduce themselves through that time. So the first job that we will start off with is our ambassadors. Their role is helping with morning announcements, planning school spirit weeks, helping with the School Star store, assisting with educational assemblies such like the Veterans Day Assembly, and providing tours to our WYES guests. And the ambassadors that we have this afternoon, we will start with Aliana.
Hello, my name is Aliana Jenkins. I'm a Waverly Owl ambassador. My most memorable moment while I'm working as an ambassador is giving my speech at the Veterans Day Assembly in front of all the veterans, including my dad in the audience. I also love working with Mrs. Roy, Miss Turner, and Mrs. Duff. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth. Hello, my name is Elizabeth Dietrich, and I'm an ambassador. My memorable moment was when I did announcements for the first time because I was really scared, but I was also very excited, and I had a great time.
Hello, my name is Adelaide, and I am an ambassador. The most memorable moment was when I was giving badges to the veterans because they truly helped us. The moment was amazing, and I won't forget it.
All right, and then the next job positions that we have are our mentors. The mentors are expected to follow the classroom expectations of their assigned third grade teachers. So our mentors actually go a couple times in the week to assign third grade classrooms where they'll read and help with like math problems and things of that nature. They are expected to be respectful during this time. Mentors will help third grade students throughout the classroom challenges and provide additional support for both the third grade students and teachers. The mentors will provide leadership throughout this role of their third grade peers. Mentors must complete all of their work prior to being able to report to their jobs. The mentors must maintain respect to the younger students and the third grade teacher throughout that entire time. And our mentor that is representing us this afternoon.
Hello, my name is David Fatinas. I'm a mentor at Waverly Out. I help out Miss Owens. My most favorite moment being a mentor is my first day on the job because everyone was so interested and fun.
All right, and the next job we actually we don't have anyone representing us this afternoon for that, but the students that do that role for this semester is Rebecca Laundry and Isabella Withrow. The office assistant will help the office staff manage office information during this time with tasks that are provided. The office assistants must complete all their work prior to being able to report to their jobs and following the office expectations. So the main job that the office assistants did for this semester is they were in charge of going around to the classrooms and getting the attendance folders. And they would collect those, make sure that the teachers had all their notes in the folders, and then they would report to the office and turn those in every morning. The other job that we have next is our librarian assistant. The librarian assistant is expected to follow the classroom expectations of the librarian. This student will help the librarian manage the media center during this time with tasks that are provided, such as organizing books, maybe help reading, maybe changing labels on the books. There's an array of tasks that Ms. Kelsey got to do, and that is who is representing us today. And she was actually our only librarian assistant for this semester.
Hello, my name is Kelsey Dobbins. My position is the library assistant. My favorite part is working with the kids because they are nice.
All right, and finally, we have our art assistants. The art assistants would be expected to follow the classroom expectations as well of the art room and the art teacher. The art assistant will help the art teacher display other students' artwork, help work on school-wide art pieces, help tidy up the art room. The art assistant will help throughout the semester during ideas of bringing artwork within the WIES halls with the arts teacher. They also were in a specials of a 4th grade class, and they helped in the 4th grade class. And we'll have Miss Georgia Henshaw and we'll have Miss Georgia first, right? Okay.
Hello, my name is Georgia Henshaw, and I am an art assistant. My most memorable moment is working with students on art projects.
Hello, my name is Allie Haberlin. I am an art assistant. My most memorable moment is when I got to meet new people and help Mrs. Gelati and other kids out. I like to help others.
One of the things that we are hoping to have for next semester is we're hoping to have a couple more positions for mentors. We also are hoping to have maybe a PE assistant to kind of help with morning PE. We also, if you have a chance to go back and look at our presentation that are in the back of your pamphlets or your programs, there's a couple more answers or perspectives of our students that were unable to attend this afternoon because of other engagements that they had to do, but we wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to kind of speak on that. So if you have a moment, we encourage you to look at that because they all had awesome answers and really enjoyed this semester. And I will turn it off to you.
Finally, we would like to thank our administration Dr. Reese and Mrs. Spears for supporting this program and allowing us to bring it to our students in 5th grade. We also want to thank our teachers and our staff who also support us and open up opportunities to provide roles for our students as we build leaders. We also want to thank the students who make this program for being stars and showing that they are capable of their responsibility of having a job. And they have done an awesome job, and we are, as advisors, are very proud of them. It's the students' job to get to work on time. We don't go around and tell them it's time for you to go to work, and they take it very seriously, and we are very proud of them. And we also want to thank our parents out here tonight that allowed their students to come. And again, thank you all for letting us present to you. Thank you.
When she says that they take their job very seriously, I will say this one quick story that actually happened today. We had a 2-hour delay, and in our packet, you'll see that we said that if there was any changes to the schedule due to weather, that they wouldn't attend their job today. They wouldn't attend their job that day. And we met with some of our dreamers today. And Georgia, I was having conversation with her. I was like, "Oh, are you going to your job today?" And she was like, "Miss Dove, you said in the packet that we weren't supposed to go." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." She goes, "Do you want me to go?" I was like, "Well, no, because the packet said that. So yeah, you're right." So they do read it and they do take it very seriously.
Good job, you guys. Board members, do you have any questions?
Thank you.
I just want to say something. Two things. When we were last time we were visiting your school, two of your ambassadors were showing us around, and it was really very impressive. They were so respectful and confident in a nice way, and they really took pride. You could tell they enjoy what they were doing. It meant a lot to them, and so it's a reflection of your leadership. And getting a program like that off the ground is a lot. I know it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of extra hours and dedication. So it's a fantastic thing you're doing. So thank you for doing that for them. And the second thing I want to say is, I was talking to a guy from the American Legion the other day, and he was talking about how meaningful the Veterans Day program that you all helped plan was, and he was teary-eyed about watching the children talk about that sort of thing. So it meant a lot to the community. So thank you very much for doing that. And other schools did the same thing. So thank you very much for doing those things.
Anybody else? That's awesome. Great job, Dreamers. Thank you for being here tonight. All right, our next agenda item is our instructional update, and I think Dr. Jones is going to share some information with us.
Yeah, so those of you that have been on the board a while probably remember that each December it is required that we report to the public and to you all the actual pupil-teacher ratios by school for the current year. And so that's what I'm here to do tonight. And I'll talk about the requirements as we go through. So you can go to the next slide and then the next slide. Perfect. Give everybody a moment. So I'll start at Madison Primary School. In kindergarten, we have 102 students and 5 teachers, which gives us a ratio of 20.4 pupils per teacher. In first grade, we have 109 students with 5 teachers, which is a ratio of 21.8. And in second grade, there are 123 students with 6 teachers, which gives the ratio of 20.5. In kindergarten, the requirement is 24-1 with no class being larger than 29. And then in grades 1, 2, and 3, the requirement is 24-1 with no class being larger than 30 is what the stipulation is.
Do you want questions as we go along or at the end?
As you go is fine, while it's fresh on your mind.
Okay. I was just curious about how much support we have for the teachers in those grade levels, such as paraprofessional support.
Are you pulling that? Ms. Grant, Dr. Ms. Grant.
Parapros, we have a
Okay.
primary. Hold on just a second.
We're pulling up that information.
And also, how about assistants? That's what I'm curious about. I mean, oh, that's what you're asking, okay.
Yeah, so we'll give you an idea of that.
We have 15 assistants at the primary school.
So at Madison Primary School, there are 15 instructional assistants that are doing a variety of things, but supporting certainly classrooms. 15 at the primary school.
But the ratio that you're talking about here, I guess the state is requiring a licensed teacher is what they're looking at the ratio.
Actual
being. Okay.
teacher-student ratio.
So even though we have some extra support in the classrooms, because they're not licensed teachers, then they're not really part of the ratio.
Correct.
Okay.
This is actually divided out by how many classes there are, how many teachers there are.
All right.
Okay, so we'll go on to Waverly Yowell. In Waverly, in our third grade, we have 124 students with 5 teachers, which gives us a ratio of 24.8 students per teacher. This year we hired an additional instructional assistant at Waverly to support third grade due to that number of students, with the ratio being 24-1 as what the state requires. In fourth grade, 110 students with 5 classroom sections, and that's a ratio of 22. In fifth grade, 113 students, 5 sections, 22.6 students per teacher. Do you want me to read through those?
Well, no, I was just going to say, and we have openings in each grade level. Yeah,
Correct.
grade levels.
Correct. Okay, at Wetzel Middle School, and we'll go by actual department in the middle school and the high school. So there are 397 students enrolled in English classes. There are 19 sections, which gives you 20.9 students per teacher in English. In history, there are 398 students enrolled with 25 sections, giving you a ratio of 15.92. In math, 389 students are enrolled with 20 sections, which gives you 19.45 students per teacher. And in science, there are 411 students enrolled with 25 sections, giving you 16.44 students per section/teacher. So you can see the ratios are fairly low, a good number at Wetzel. And then at the high school, the same thing. We'll go by department. In English, there are 505 students enrolled in English courses with 28 sections, so there are 18 students per. And then in history, 452 students with 24 sections, giving you 18.8 students per. And then in the math department, 561 students are enrolled in math courses with 31 sections, giving you a ratio of 18. And in science, 449 students with 24 sections, also 18.7. So it's very consistent across departments at the high school. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them, but that's what we're required and want to let you all know and the public know about our numbers this month.
What are the requirements for third, fourth, and fifth grade? Does that change from second grade? What does DOE tell us?
Yeah, 25-1 in grades 4 through 6, with no class being larger than 35, and then it goes to the requirement of 24-1 in English classes in grades 6 through 12. So it kind of switches up for that, but it's 25-1 in 4 through 6, and then 24-1 below third and below.
What was third grade?
24-1.
Is there any, so you're at 24 point something? What does that mean? I mean, is that just any kind of consequence from the state?
You're welcome.
Doesn't work. I'm just sorry.
I mean, we should get some kind of credit for having instructional assistants in the classroom
And
helping.
we did write and tell them that because we have to complete a report, but there's not necessarily a consequence for us because we have the position open. We're not saying we want that to be our number. We have the position open and we're actively trying to find a teacher. So. And we're not, I guess we should say too, we're not out of compliance because it's
Correct.
24-1, but no class larger than 30.
I see.
So there's a little wiggle room there. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's one of the perks, of working in a small school division is the class sizes are smaller. So yeah, I know you guys are actively looking, but I think that's a perk to work. It's an
Incentive.
yeah,
Yeah.
an attention getter to get folks to come work for us. So I would love to see that number lower. I know you guys would too.
Yes, we would.
Board members, do you guys have any questions?
What in y'all's professional opinion, what is an ideal ratio for Madison County?
I think an elementary would be great if we could stay like 18 or 19. Would be the best. I mean, less is great, but practical number, a good number for us would be 18, 19.
Which if and when we fill our openings, will be very close to that.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next agenda item is public comment. We welcome and would like to hear from you all. So if anybody would like to come up for public comment, you'll have 3 minutes. Please state your name and the area of the county you are from.
so much that you have created this entire universe in which we live, in this tiny little speck of a planet that we live on. And each one of us, as minute as we are in the big picture of things, are created in your image. And Father, as great and powerful as you are, you care about us. You love us. You care about what we face. You told us to cast our cares on you because you care for us. And Father, I pray tonight that you would help our school board. Father, help them to locate a curriculum that does not dishonor you. I pray that you would help them with the many types of curriculum that they seek to find. Lord, you know where each one is. I pray that you would guide them directly to it. Father, I pray that you would be with the schools. Father, I pray that you would help direct to fill the teaching positions. I pray that you would them.
I'm Mike Sharman from the Novum area of Madison County. So tonight you're considering Madison County's policy on character education. And if the children leave Madison schools without having been solidly grounded in the precepts of integrity, nothing else they learned will be of any real or lasting value. Proverbs 10:9 tells us, "He who walks with integrity walks securely." Teddy Roosevelt, in a speech he gave at Abilene, Kansas, 1903, said, "There is not in all America a more dangerous trait than the deification of mere smartness, unaccompanied by any sense of moral responsibility." President-elect John F. Kennedy gave a speech at the Madison State House 11 days before his presidential inauguration. He said, "Of those to whom much is given, much is required. And when at some future date the High Court of History sits in judgment on each one of us, our success or failure in whatever office we may hold will be measured by the answers to 4 questions. First, were we truly men of courage, with the courage to stand up to one's enemies, the courage to resist public pressure, as well as private greed? Secondly, were we truly men of judgment, with perceptive judgment of the future as well as the past? Third, were we truly men of integrity, men who never ran out on either the principles in which they believed or the people who believed in them, men who believed in us, men whom neither financial gain nor political ambition could ever divert from the fulfillment of our sacred trust? Finally, were we truly men of dedication, with an honor mortgaged to no single individual or group, devoted solely to serving the public good and the national interest? He closed by saying, "Humbly I ask his help, God's help, in that undertaking, but aware that on earth his will is worked by men." So if Madison County's children are taught well in the doctrines of character, they will truly have acquired a higher education. Thank you, and thank you, Mrs. Allen, for your service. 4 dozen years. Well done. Great example of character. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the board? Okey doke. We will move on to our 3 business information items. These are just information. No voting tonight on these. But the first one is the calendar committee. Do you want to say anything about that?
First of all, we'd like to thank Ms. DeBoer. She's agreed to chair the committee again. She enjoys doing that, creating different calendars and listening to the group of teachers. And the teachers come, either they're on the superintendent's teacher advisory, or the advisory members have gone back and some of the advisory members couldn't be on it, so they went back and asked the staff who would like to serve on the advisory, on the calendar committee. So that's where these folks came from. The middle school does have two. They're kind of sharing that spot, but they look forward to getting ready. They'll plan, they'll come up with some drafts, and then each school goes and finds parent reps from that, from their school. They pull parents into a meeting and parents discuss the calendar. Then they send that calendar out to vote for staff, and then we bring it to you to decide to.
Okey doke. Anybody have any questions?
And usually this is just informational. You don't vote on it next month. They're already getting started.
Okay.
The next thing is the budget planning calendar that you've already seen before. We just kind of highlighted this month. It's time for you all, if you haven't thought about it already, to start coming up with your own priorities. The governor is set to release his budget on the 20th, I believe. So that'll give us some direction on, we've heard a few things, what some priorities might be from the governor, but then when that comes out, we'll know. And then we'll start building a budget off of the governor's budget first, and then we'll wait for the House and Senate's budgets, which sometimes can throw everything up in the air. We know how long that lasted this year.
Yes, I feel like we just finished one budget cycle.
We have heard rumors that things are going to be more tight for education, so priorities as we start discussing them. The staff has started. I think there's 3 or 4 things already on the staff list, because again, all the advisory members have access to the spreadsheet, and they'll put in requests from staff, and we'll try to, little things we can usually sometimes go ahead and purchase with year-end funding or funding we already have. They might need something, just haven't told anybody about it yet. So things like that we'll start moving around in the budget. But big goals, like when we start talking, are just how can we better compensate our staff, our teachers. There has been requests the past few years that I'm kind of tossing around, and we can talk about it a little bit further, is a longevity supplement for our teachers. We're going to go through and sort a spreadsheet so we can just see what we're dealing with. Where do you give that? Is it 15 years, 18 years, 20 years? Where would we do that? But I do agree with them. People that have been with you and committed to your school division for a certain period of time, a long period of time, maybe it is time to recognize that and give them something for it. I don't know how much we could give. It's something we can talk about. But it's definitely come up in our teacher advisory several times. And so I'd like to kind of dig into that a little bit if we can.
And we talked this a little bit before, but something just to think about a little bit, and maybe the board can think about a little bit, is I love that idea of the longevity thing. I mean, people who have who want to be here, but maybe also we could think about a little bit of merit bonus type things for the principal, the folks who principals say are the best teachers. I know the budget's limited, but might be a way to try to put those two things, longevity and merit, in there. It'd be a nice way to recognize excellence, maybe.
The only other comment I have is, can you make sure these are on our calendars, the ones that we're supposed to be at?
I sure can.
Thank you.
And I'm not sure if the county has finalized their calendar, but we do know that we'll go present to the Board of Supervisors in their work session at some point in February. So as soon as we know their exact date.
Okay, yeah.
Also, in taking a look at the merit situation has been brought up, and again, I've got mixed feelings on this as a teacher. Having a longevity one can be a plus, but especially now that most teachers don't last more than 5 years, and then they're out of the profession or a different county. But with the merit-based piece, it should not just revolve around SOL content.
Correct.
Because there's too many other teachers that have strengths outside of the SOL scores, and that cannot be ignored in the impact they can have. And I mean, and how that goes about as far as the admin teams go, I guess you guys can take a look at that and decide how you will look at it and present it to us and how that kind of fits in. But obviously, that could also sometimes be viewed as teacher's pet, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Which could also cause a lack of longevity.
Mhm.
So balancing that out is going to be tough.
Right.
Just things to keep in mind.
And that, the merit base might take a while to really dig into, if that would be a goal of the board. That would, it's a lot to hash out, exactly like what you're saying.
Absolutely.
I agree. Lots of hurt feelings can happen. So that was all I had. It's the same calendar you've had before. I just wanted to highlight where we were in it.
Anybody have any questions?
And if you come up with some other ideas for the budget, you can email myself and Ms. Crop like ahead of time if you want, if it's something you want us to dig into, so you have that information at the next meeting, like numbers and things like that.
Okay. All righty. Our next item is BFC. Again, this is business information. Probably vote on this in January-ish, as long as we don't have any other revisions to it. It has been through legal. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, that is accurate.
It has been through legal. I thought so. Do you want to, Mr. Wingate, you want to take this one on?
Thank you, Ms. Collier, very much. Just wanted to kind of tell the board and public what we're kind of where we are. We started talking about this way back in the summertime, and then we formed our character education committee. And just want to thank not here, but thank them for all the work. We met 3 or 4 times with Mrs. Graham and parents and teachers and leaders from each of the schools, and so it's been a kind of collaborative process. And I think it's a good. I think, in my opinion, it's a good product ready to be voted on. I want to just kind of hit the high points, just so the board knows what the high points we've kind of come upon and why. First, the state law says we have to have a character education program, and so we want to make sure that we're in compliance with that. And so we have this policy ensures that while the policy acknowledges right up front that we're doing that, but also acknowledges right up front that parents have the primary right and responsibility to form their children's character. And that idea kind of runs through the whole, throughout the spirit and the flow of the whole policy. Number 2 is that we know the parents have the primary responsibility, but the school certainly can help. And in those cases where the parents are struggling to do so, then the schools can help by focusing on some real foundational values. Mr. Reitz was talking about some of those foundational values that are so essential to taking out to the workplace and the world, and to both be successful and happy. And so in the committee, we kind of came upon, we thought we wanted to find 3 to 5 values, traits that we could focus on. And so state law lays out some of those, and we did a survey that parents and students and teachers could provide input for. And then we got to talk to parents and teachers, and we came up with 5 that are very similar to the ones that are in state law, but we really hope can inform the character education program. And those are integrity, respect, responsibility, kindness, and American citizenship. And I think the idea of this policy, one of the ideas of this policy, is make those really foundational, fundamental, that things like social emotional learning, and when we do that, can build upon these. But this is the foundation for it, is this character education program. And it's not just the idea of our little committee and this policy, is that it's not just a curriculum, but it's really this idea that kind of runs through our policies, our values, and what Mrs. Wyndham has the 4 I's that she does, and I love that idea. It's a great idea, and I hope that the 5 values that if they're adopted will inform things like that. So I think that's super important. And then this policy ensures that social and emotional learning is in a supporting role and doesn't replace character education, and that we do social and emotional learning in a way that's respectful of parental rights. I think this includes not fully accepting the voluntary SOL standards that were adopted under the last state administration. It has a lot of stuff in there that kind of reflects Governor Northam's priorities that certainly I'm not crazy of. A lot of talk about, I think they're dismissive of parental rights, and there's a big focus on some of the equity things that I think are divisive and can be kind of harmful. So we kind of try to stay away from that. And then the policy talks about ensuring that whatever we use will be free of indoctrinating children or taking sides on any kind of partisan political issues. Let's leave that to the parents and other authorities, and let schools stay away from those things. And it says that we will ensure that we kind of oversee any supplemental materials. The committee has come up with a number of curriculums and resources that meet that requirement, we think. Things like Positivity Project, which is a character-based program. There's a U.S. The Medal of Honor winners curriculum that lays out the kind of courage and things like that for Medal of Honor winners. Things like that we've the committee has said are good resources that meet these requirements, and that would be available to schools through this policy. Fifth, and one of the things that we kind of started this business was with the social emotional learning thing. Some parents felt that the programs in use were not fully accessible, and so this policy says that anything we use will be fully accessible to parents, so they can see exactly what students are seeing, and that builds confidence and trust in the system. I think it's super important. It also provides expectations to school leadership on how to apply these 5 key values, and some of the input Mr. Sheeds has talked about in the past, and other people there's a lot in there about building American citizenship and appreciation for the ideas of the founding documents. And you know, it was so fun, it's so good to see in the primary school and the Waverly Owl and all those Veterans Days things and how powerful that was in the community. It's this is, in many ways, I mean, this is already happening. In many ways, this policy is sort of articulates things for the future to do that are already happening. Another one, the policy tasks the superintendent with training of school personnel. So another job for Mrs. Graham to train people, and then make sure that we as a school board keep aware through the committee of what the resources are, and we fund that fully, and then ask the superintendent to come and tell us every year, just like kind of did with the school numbers, on how the program is going. There's some metrics in the policy, things like we ask every student in high school to take the current citizenship exam, not as a requirement, but so we kind of see how we're doing, and it's important to have metrics to see how we're doing, and so we'll have that in the policy also. I think that's kind of a summary of the policy. You all had a copy of it last time. Any questions, thoughts, things to improve, concerns about it? It did go through legal. We got legal, and it's good feedback. Some good feedback. We made some changes based on that legal feedback. So, in my opinion, I think the division's ready to push forward with it. I think there's some buy-in there, and I think we're ready to vote on it next month, subject to y'all's thoughts and ideas. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. I did get, she might have sent it to all of us, I don't know. Mrs. Davis sent an email that it almost sounded like if someone opts out, like a parent decides to opt their child out, they have to opt their child out of all of it. And she said it'd be good to make it so that if there was one piece that they didn't want their child in, they didn't have to, it wasn't an all or nothing deal, I think is what she put in the email. So I thought that was a good idea too. So.
I think that was the intent. I'll go back and look. I just don't know yet, but I think that's the intent. I'll go back and make sure it says that. That's a good idea. Did I miss anything?
No.
Anybody have any questions, concerns, comments? Thank you, Mr. Wingate. The next agenda item is to change our current 2023-2024 school calendar. As we have a committee, it's not always perfect. So Ms. Graham is asking us to approve some days, some half days to full days.
Some half days. And we're going to leave half days out of this new calendar coming. They're not really helpful. They're hard on our bus drivers because sometimes they have separate jobs. They're hard on parents to find that mid-of-the-day childcare. Quite frankly, they're hard for teachers because on a day that we reserve the afternoon for teacher workday and planning, Sometimes you're either too exhausted or too distracted, or maybe you have a couple of parents you need to call because of what happened that day, and you don't get around to the time we've set aside to planning. And I really feel like a lot of our teachers, we've gotten so focused on a calendar that makes our summer as long as possible that I feel like we're leaving out some work days that our teachers really need. And this will put in 3 work days for them, 3 full work days, by eliminating these half days. So we'll just go ahead and do it for the year. And we're still okay with like bank snow days by doing that. So we'll be okay. Because I know there's lots of people doing snow dances out there. And by the way, I want to say on the agenda, they had to refresh the agenda, and that was my fault because for a few minutes, supplemental appropriation was showing up in the wrong spot. That was not some strange, weird thing. It was because my keyboard got stuck, and it did it on my computer.
No.
So I just want to make sure everyone knows that was
We're good.
an accident. So.
You gotta love technology when it works. Anybody have any questions about the half days to full days?
I do. So are these going to be actual, like, in-school?
They
full
are
days,
in
not
school.
at home work
No,
days?
they will not be at home work days.
Okay.
I know that's very convenient for some people, but it's really so
For some
teachers
reason.
can get some meetings they need to do, some collaboration, and get some things done. So they'll be school-based work days.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, we will open the floor for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we convert the following student half-days to full teacher workdays: Friday, December the 22nd, 2023, Thursday, February 15th, 2024, and Friday, March 15th, 2024.
We have a motion. We need a second.
I second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. And you have a motion. I assume you guys will send that out publicly
Yes, we
so
will.
everybody knows and,
Yes.
okay. Perfect. All right. The next, excuse me. The next agenda item is to approve a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $25,162.82. This was from Vacor for repair of a bus.
Correct, right. And to get it added into the budget, we need to do a supplemental.
We need to do a supplemental appropriation. So it came back to the county and
Right.
it
correct.
needs to
So-
come, they need to give it back to us.
Right, the insurance company is paying for the repair, so we just need to add it to the budget.
Perfect. Anybody have any questions? Okay, I'll open the floor for that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve supplemental appropriation in the amount of $25,162.82.
Okay, we have a motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. And the motion carries. Okey doke. The last agenda item is any school board member reports, our student representative, and our superintendent. So I guess we'll start with you, Mr. Sheeds. Do you have anything to share with us?
No, I don't.
No?
No, I don't. But I did want to say congratulations to Pastor Biver on the new addition to the family.
Yes.
And
A
thank you for your
blessing.
prayer.
Mr. Wingate?
I can't remember if we had any school visits since the last meeting, but the for committees, the character education committee has been meeting, and you can see the results of some of that. Other thing, just to tell the board, I had talked to some American Legion guys and VFW folks, and some of them are interested in donating some money to. If you remember, we voted to put flags on new uniforms when they were bought. These guys are interested in spending the money on putting on flags on current uniforms, and so there's some folks working on, some American Legion folks kind of working on that. There would be private money. They just sew the flag on the uniform ahead of schedule. Just I want to make sure that's okay with the school board. That's the idea, and I think the spirit is certainly what we're going to do, but to make sure it's okay with you all for them to kind of continue with that.
Got my yes.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you to Mr. Reitz and the pastor for your faithfulness and coming and your comments and your help in that way. And the last thing I forgot to say when I was talking about the care education thing, I just wanted to say because for the media here, I mean the papers here, because there's a report that wasn't. I want to make sure it's clear. There's concern on social emotional learning, and there's a report saying that we were not able to sort of adjust that. But just want to clarify that the state law says that the Board of Education will provide some standards, and the local school boards have the right to adopt those, not adopt them, or modify them, and that's the right of the local school board by state law. And just make sure that's kind of clarified. That's all I have.
Mr. Marks?
Nothing to report other than I've had the privilege of talking to a lot of parents the past couple weeks, and how they've been really touting the praises of so many individual teachers in all buildings. I can't really give too much praise except for to one. The STEM teacher at the middle school evidently has been a tremendous impact to some of the cool technology stuff that he's been doing, and the parents are raving about it, and so that's been phenomenal. Otherwise, that was great, Mr. Sherman's piece in paper that he handed out, because just recently I was reading a book, and one of the quotes in it was an excerpt from another book that stated that if a person wanted to be truly unbeatable at life, they would solely need to work on character, integrity, and work ethic, and nothing could ever be taken from them. And so I think that's tremendous as far as some of the work that's been done by Mr. Wingate and his committee and how that's played out, and I look forward to seeing how it's going to work.
Ms. Allen?
Well, I will take my last comment to say thank you to the board. For those of you that are remaining on the board, you'll have a new person in this chair next month, and I wish you all well. I know the school system is in good hands with you guys, so I will miss you, but I won't miss coming out on Monday nights to a meeting. And I wish you well.
Thank you. Yeah. Mr. Marks wants to back up and say one more thing.
It has been truly remarkable to have had you not only as a teacher for a great part of my life and a big inspiration, but then also as a neighbor, and then to also have the privilege to sit beside you yet one more time up here in the short time I've been a part of the board with you. And thank you for all of your guidance in so many ways as a young man and as an adult. I truly appreciate it. God bless you, and thank you for all your service.
Oh, thank you, Greg.
Thank you. I don't have anything to report other than I just want to say thank you to everybody and Merry Christmas. Excited to have this season upon us and have some time off and families be at home with each other, and so it's a good season, and that's all. I don't have anything else to report. Ms. Kropp, do you have something?
You scared Tammy for a second.
There are a few things that's happened since the last meeting. So November/December, early December. Aiden Menifee invited students and community members to a free meditation class on December 6th for his Blue Ridge Virtual Governor School project in Culpeper. It was designed to strengthen mental health in the community. I wasn't able to go, and I haven't heard much about it, but it sounds like it's pretty cool. Kathy Zanella
What's the time for that?
10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Graham?
Just two things. I was informed that the meeting with the Board of Supervisors will be February 29th at 3 p.m. to discuss our budget. So we can talk about who would like to attend that. And then the only other thing is thank you to Karen. We're going to miss you. We appreciate your service and your leadership and your mentorship, and we just ask that you not be a stranger. Come back whenever you want and visit us and hang out, see some kids. Come read in a class and go all the way back to what the real joy was when you started. So.
That it? Yes, thank you very much, Karen. And you said February 29th at 4? 3.
Yeah, it's leap year.
I had to go look to make sure we had a February 29th. I thought maybe they were like scamming us or something. Like, we really do have a 29th, Clay. Huh?
Talk to myself, sorry.
Okay.
Out loud, old age.
Oh, goodness. I'm writing this down so I don't forget it. Okay, that's all I have on the agenda, unless anybody else has anything else. All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And a second. We are adjourned. We don't have to vote on that.